Today, we're here to talk about our new parking pay stations. So, for many people who have been heavily involved in this in the city for quite some time, getting a complete overhaul of our pay stations is long overdue. That includes me. But we've, just to put this in context, we responded to people in the community for many years who really found the inconvenience of working with our old pay system, where you plug in coins in meters, where you can't use credit cards, where you never really know what's going on in terms of time and timing with your parking. We launched a couple of years ago a new system with our friends here, our blue parking pay stations. And while this has been properly quite a controversial effort for the city, I've got to say that most of the feedback we got from people was that they appreciated the convenience of having a new parking system on the streets in downtown Salt Lake with our pay stations. And most people use credit cards, have been using credit cards as the way to pay, or have used our friendly app, which of course we wish more people would use because it is so friendly. But we also ran into a whole series of problems that are very well documented. And in fact, one of our speakers today is Paul Raleigh, who did such a great job of highlighting for us all of the problems we were having. And I suspect he was one of the victims of the problems. So we're glad that Paul has joined us to celebrate the change. I can tell you we went through a complete reevaluation of our pay stations with the problems that we were having that have been so well documented. And what we have now is, thanks to both a new provider and a completely new guts in the system, pay stations that we think will correct the challenges people had in using them through oftentimes no fault of their own, in terms of having good legible system, having an easy to use system, and having a reliable system. And we have checked this system out very thoroughly. We've done our diligence. And we're happy that over 300 pay stations now in downtown Salt Lake have been replaced. The guts have all been replaced, and the system has been replaced. Going forward, we look forward to pay stations that not only are convenience for downtown folks, which is really was our primary goal in the complete change out of our system, but also are more inviting for people coming downtown with the convenience that they bring. And I want to thank, we've had people working, I can tell you, throughout the time that these original pay stations have been put in, to try to fix the problems that we were having. Some of them that maybe could have been foreseen, most of them were ones that we just really couldn't anticipate. And I want to particularly note Robin Hutcheson in our Transportation Division, Ben over here, and others I know in public services who really have worked hard around this parking system and doing really a complete overhaul of the system, so that hopefully today, from this point forward, people will find in downtown Salt Lake not only the convenience of pay stations, but also ones that they can really rely on. And I want to remind people as well, you're going to be hearing some more details, that if you can bring yourself, if you've got a smartphone, and you can bring yourself to use the app, it will clear up any mistakes that you might make in trying to use these pay stations. So we're excited to kick off, hopefully, a new beginning, a new start for our parking on the streets in downtown Salt Lake, and we look forward to it working well and serving people well. So with that, we have a number of speakers. Jason Mathis with the Downtown Alliance, who, I could blame for everything relating to the parking stations because it really was his idea. No, it wasn't. It really came from the community. But with the Downtown Alliance, Chad Randall, who's with the new provider for our stations, and then Paul Raleigh.
So Jason?
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I wish I lived in a world where there was always enough parking for everyone and that you never had to pay for it. That is not the world that we live in. There are 70,000 people who come into downtown Salt Lake City every day, and if we had enough parking for everyone, we wouldn't have enough building space. And so somehow we have to make sure that the parking downtown, and in particular the public parking downtown, works for people, and that there's turnover, and that people don't just stay in a parking space all day long, that they're able to come in, do their shopping, go to lunch, and then leave. And so that's one of the reasons that we have to have paid parking in the downtown area. I think it's a sign of great leadership that when you try something new, and that you always are trying new things, that you're able to take a step back, evaluate, and if things aren't working out the way that you had anticipated, you're willing to make changes and improvements. And just in the same way that downtown will never be done, there's never going to be a finished point, we're always going to be working and improving, that's true of parking. And I think the city has done a great job in evaluating where we are. Clearly people like the convenience of using a credit card. They love being able to use a cell phone to pay. But the interior of the other system was not good, and we can't sugarcoat it. I'm so grateful that the city has evaluated that, recognized that, and made improvements that will make parking better and easier for the people of downtown Salt Lake City. We're also very happy that in the next few weeks there will be a new passport program that will be rolled out that will allow merchants to provide a validation for parking. This is particularly important to small businesses who don't have a validation program, who aren't associated with the Gateway or City Creek Center, who have asked for this. So over the next few weeks, we'll be working with the city to roll out this new parking validation system that I think will make a big impact for downtown merchants, and so we're very excited about that. Really, I'm just here today to say thank you. Thanks for listening to the concerns that downtown merchants had. Thanks for listening to the concerns that downtown visitors had, and for really working to solve this problem and create a great parking system for the people who love downtown, who come downtown, who work downtown, who shop downtown. It's made a big difference, and we're excited about the new rollout for this new system, and we appreciate what the city has done. Thanks very much.
Hi there. Good morning. I'm Chad Randall. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for IPS Group. We're a parking and wireless technology company based in San Diego, California. And I have to echo the sentiments up here. When we set out to create parking technology, a space which was already crowded with many competitors, the idea was really to do something different. And being based in Southern California, which is the epicenter of some new wireless technology, we felt we had a leg up and could create a parking product that was not only more reliable, but was really easier to use. And as mentioned, people don't come downtown because they really enjoy the parking experience. They come downtown because they want to go to restaurants and shops, and they want to spend time there, and they want the parking experience to just be simple and almost mindless. And that's exactly what we've done. We started many years ago innovating the first credit card enabled single space parking meter. We now have over 200,000 of those deployed across the US and Canada. And this new product line is basically building on the same idea of bringing reliability, speed of a transaction, security, and ease of use. And those are all the things that the public is going to see. What you won't see is the robust back office, the data and analytics that will really allow the city and the staff to analyze parking. And as the policies of parking evolve in the city, so will our data systems, and so will this technology. So, on behalf of IPS Group and our now a little over 100 employees, I can't tell you how excited we were to be a part of this project, to work with the city staff. They've been exceptional. We have an opportunity to work with a lot of cities across the country, and you should all be very proud of the staff here. They really did manage a first-class implementation project. So we thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to a long and successful partnership between ourselves and the city of Salt Lake in the many years to come. Thank you very much.
Well, I have to say I was a little bit surprised when Mayor Becker called me and asked me if I'd participate in this. It's not often that I get calls from government officials who I make fun of all the time to invite me over to be part of their press conference, but I thought it was would be a fun thing to do. I have to thank the city for all the column items that they gave me over the last couple of years. It seemed like every time I'd write something about a screw up of one of the kiosks, then I'd get an email from somebody else who had a whole different bad experience with it. It was almost getting creative how the kiosk could mess up. Speaking of the app, it'll be interesting if that works now. I went lunch one time with a friend at Jay Wong's over on 2nd South, and I walked over, and he, from the Tribune building, he drove over, and he was trying to use his cell phone. They just laid out that new program, and he couldn't get it to work, and he was getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and I was thinking, well, there's another column item for me. But I've got to say, I started feeling sorry for the guys a little bit, the parking people, because, I mean, I was writing so many column items about this, of all the tips I would get, that my editor got sick of them. He started telling me, God, you got to knock this off. I'm getting sick of reading all these things. But so if this new parking system works out, then he'll be happy. Because I won't have that to write about anymore. We'll always have other things to write about. In fact, when I've never been a victim of the parking system here, Ralph, because after writing all the columns and hearing from everybody else, I always make sure that when I go around downtown Salt Lake City, I take tracks. Although on a day like today, that can be a bit of a challenge. As I was standing on the tracks station on Main Street and 5th South, waiting for the university train to come, I noticed there was an American Fork police car who apparently had been up here for some meeting, and he hadn't bothered to scrape his windows. His back window was completely covered with snow. His side windows were completely covered with snow, and his front windshield had just a little tiny spot where he had, made a little opening so he could barely see out. And I was thinking, if he wasn't an American Fork cop, he'd probably get a ticket for that. So thank you, Ralph. You gave me another column item as I was, coming on my way over. I do want to say one thing. Of all the fun I had with you guys and all the columns I wrote, making fun of the parking system, when I would call the parking enforcement offices, I was always treated with a lot of respect. People tried to get the answers for me. Nobody ever got defensive. They sort of realized, well, yeah, this is a screw up and you're writing about it, and that's fine, and we'll try and do better. And so I thank the parking enforcement people for always being polite to me and not yelling at me. Not every government office treats me that way. But anyway, glad to be here and hope the new system works out well.
All right, well, thank you. I think we'll maybe just be available for one-on-ones. I might mention that I'm sure it's just because I'm the mayor, but I use the app all the time, and it always seems to work for me. But I'm looking forward to the fact that with the new system, it should work for everybody well. And hopefully we'll have just great parking opportunities, availability, and a well-functioning system for folks in downtown Salt Lake. Thank you all for joining us. Be careful out there in the snow, and we'll look forward to having this system hopefully work really well for everybody who's coming to downtown Salt Lake. Thank you.